So Amber Lasciak is actually my neighbor, down the road there, part of the time in New York, is the founder of ReDu, a design build company that makes sustainable furniture and builds commercial and residential interiors for 99% reuse products. ReDu rescues scrapes and dry waste materials from the surrounding local businesses and construction sites and transforms them in these so-called waste materials into items of utility and beauty. And I have seen the work, and it is just gorgeous, the designs that they make. Building our company, ReDu, is being a part of the circular economy in so many ways. So Amber, thanks for joining us today. So from New York, yes, in somewhere, to Iowa. Amber, last year.
Hi there, everyone. So happy to be here. Exciting to hear that Fairfield, Iowa is upping their game and interested and opening up, especially on this special day. Yeah, so my name is Amber Lasciak. I have a sustainable design company called ReDu Studios, as David said. Thank you, David. For loving our designs. We've been doing this for 9 years. Um, and we are definitely a pioneer in the space. When I started, there was literally nobody around who was doing anything like that. It's starting to change, which is really great because I think that there's so much awareness, obviously, in this direction. Um, how ReDu started was it was just something that it's sort of like the landscape showed how much you really needed to in New York City, which is where I'm, where we're based in Brooklyn. You see all these like all these big, huge dumpsters filled with usable materials. And it could be anything from a beautiful desk or office chairs to just like incredible lumber and metal and stuff that you could transform into something. And that's having grown up in a very beautiful, pristine Northern California environment. I found that really like stark contrast to where I grew up, and it just really like hit me hard. So I started realizing that we had a broken system where we had beautiful usable materials going into landfill, and yet we were having supply chain issues at the same time. And so I was in film and TV, and I decided to put that aside for a moment to try to start a company that addressed specifically this issue and movie studios. I thought maybe I would show a little, it might be easier just to watch a little bit about how we work. This is a Business Insider video. I'll just show a little bit of it. Um, but it just shows a little bit about our process. Let me see if I can share screen here. Do that first.
About 1/3 of all waste in New York City comes from construction and demolition sites. Almost all of that is reusable, but most of it ends up in landfills.
That's a problem, and it needs a system change. It needs a redo.
Okay, let's load this in.
That's what inspired Amber Lasciak to found a company that makes custom furniture using construction waste.
Box truck life. I have been called the queen of trash for obvious reasons because I make a life of transforming trash.
Like the $4,200 Condor couch. The plywood came from a building site, the frame is scrap metal, and an ice cream factory provided a barrel for the armrests. But turning trash into luxury furniture requires a skilled hand.
In 53 years in the business, I've done just about everything but use recycled materials.
Can the company make a dent in a city that generates 150 Statue of Liberty's worth of construction waste every day? We went to Brooklyn to see how ReDu makes upscale furniture out of worldwide waste. The ReDu team makes weekly runs to pick up materials from construction sites and companies around the Red Hook neighborhood.
I've actually put on a crown and a big dress. I'm going to be the queen of trash. Why not? Knocking on doors and finding out what kind of trash people have, they don't forget you. What's going on? Everything that we get is local. It's within 15 minutes of where we are.
See you again.
Let's see.
Just a few blocks away from ReDu's home base, Eli Fernald is working on a 4-story residential building.
Happy for anybody who's getting involved to try to take construction material out of the waste stream that could very easily be reused.
Here they'll pick up wasted wood, masonry debris, and any other scraps Amber thinks could come in handy.
Okay, and then let's get some of that netting. Awesome.
So, so basically, as you can see, what we do is we, I think if that's something that you guys are interested, it's like the learning and how do we make use of these incredible scraps that are going, in our case, in New York, it's a third or 60% of New York waste is dry construction waste. And dry construction waste is, it's all the scraps that come from manufacturers. So like wood, metal, coffee bags, leather scraps. It's all of these scraps that are made by all the industry around us. And in Brooklyn, we have a huge amount of it. It's like more than, a person can handle, or a company. And I think because 80% of that is usable, it's an absolute must that, municipalities, communities, not only are aware of what's going into landfill, but also are utilizing, and then just becoming a digestive system in your community. And so, it's a very simple, like, ultimately the way that I started when I started the company was, first of all, just really believing that I could make a change. But having no blueprint whatsoever to like, it wasn't like I could look down the street at a restaurant that already exists and say like, how do they do this? It was like, there was nobody around doing this. So it took a while to figure out actually how simple it is, but if you were to start out fresh, what you would do is you would first just take a look around your community and see what kind of industry, what kind of wood shops, ultimately I just started walking around my neighborhood and finding out who was there, like who are my neighbors and what are they producing and what are they, if I was in a community that didn't have any industry and they were just producing plastic papers, then I would be making plastic lampshades. It's like whatever around you is going into landfill is what you can use. And what you do is you make partnerships. You go, you knock on their door. In my case, I oftentimes would wear a crazy dress just for fun, so they wouldn't forget me. I would, and I would find out what they're putting in the waste stream on a regular basis. I would take a piece of that material back to my team, which is in the video. I just didn't want to play the whole video, but I would take back to my team and we start to do sketches of it and try to figure out like how can we incorporate this into one of our interiors, which we do full commercial interiors from 99% dry construction waste and furniture. So it's as simple as just knowing the community, knowing having an idea of what's kind of consistently going into the waste stream, and then, taking from them, what you can use. And in that case, in 99% of the time, my partnerships with the surrounding businesses are, ecstatic about me taking these materials from them, because they no longer have to pay to get rid of it. So it's a win-win situation right from the get-go. So it's like that's a really wonderful thing. So then you take away what you can use, or you will have to store it. And I might just share my screen one more time here. So, you know, here's a typical, here is us. We're doing a demo of, we're doing a cafe here. We're demoing the ceiling, because we want to, we have about 6 feet that we can raise the ceiling there. But we're saving the tin. And so, I mean, if there's any town where people are renovating, this is happening all the time, right? So you're going to have bits and pieces of 2x4s. You're going to have scraps of this, and hopefully beautiful banisters, and hopefully beautiful tin, such as this, which we saved. And then, you know, what happens is you do have to store it unless you're using it right away. In our case, we ended up using it right away. We put it back up, and but it was you know, we gained 6 feet on our roof. So here's a typical, this is kind of what it looks like, what we procure. Here's, you know, a wood pile. This is what you're getting, and you're getting it directly. In my case, we're getting it directly from the you know, manufacturer. So it's not like we have to go dumpster diving or go into landfill to find it. It's all clean. It's all just right there. And we have a system where we put our containers in their businesses, and they fill them up, and then we call them, they call us when they're full, or we call them to see how they're doing. Of course, the one thing about having these kinds of materials is that you are going to have storage. So storage is a really important part of this, because you know, you can very quickly become an organized landfill alternative. And and the reason why municipalities, so far, I've been dealing with New York for years now, and they're very excited about us and have been trying to figure out how to partner with us. We were offered land, we've been offered lots of different things, but the fear is that they're just, whatever they offer is going to become yet another landfill, just another version of it. So you really have to show the order and you know, how often, you know, ideally there has to be flow, and things are not just sitting forever and piling up. But this is one of our warehouses, and this is kind of what it looks like. And this is not nearly as full as it is about to be, for instance. In our case, we do procurement of materials, and then we also are designing, transforming, and making it into a new life. So here's a perfect example. This is a barrel that we got, and then we start making sketches. So our design team starts sketching it out, trying to decide, like, you know, what sketches and what designs we think are doable, either for the particular interior that we're doing, or for our store. And if it's something we want to go into production on. So, you know, what makes us really stand out is, for 9 years, we have been transforming, you know, tires into planters, and tires into ottomans. And so we just have a huge amount of designs, and you can kind of take us anywhere, and we could just plop down anywhere that there's industry, manufacturing, construction, remodeling, these kinds of things. We just become a digestive system, and are able to, like, make really beautiful, you know, items of utility and beauty out of these, out of whatever, you know, is presented to us. Really, there's not much we can't transform. Here, this is a chair that we made. It's a perfect example. This is all made from lots of little metal scraps, sutured together. We have, you know, full metal, full wood, and full upholstery fabrication in our 7,000 square foot warehouse. These pillows right here are, for instance, rolled up yoga mats, and coffee bags. The material is a dead stock material, which means it was going to be thrown away, or as, you know, remnants and stuff like that. We never buy anything new except for our tools and our nails. Here's our store in Hudson. You can see them in the window there. And here's our new warehouse, which is not quite ready yet, but it's going to have manufacturing and retail all in the same space. So everything you're seeing in here, everything is something that we've made from scratch from reused materials. So these chairs here in the front, lots of different metals that we put together in order to make these outdoor chairs. This is 2x4s over here. You know, a bench with metal and wood and procured wood. So on and on. You can see we can pretty much make everything from 99% reused materials, which is, again, 60% of New York City waste. This is a restaurant that we did. This is our headquarters in Red Hook. There's another restaurant cafe that we did. Again, all from 99% reused materials. The only thing that we had a hard time with here is that, you know, regulations in commercial buildings have their you know, there's certain things that we were not able to procure. So the kitchen, which is back here, we had to have a 20 gauge metal wall, and we just couldn't procure that. We couldn't find it secondhand anywhere. And so we had to, that was the one thing that we weren't able to do, but everything else in here is reused materials. Even the glass is rescued glass, etc. So yeah, I think it's just a, you know, it's a very easy, how do I get back to stop sharing? It's in the end, it took me several years to find the blueprint for this, you know, to understand what procurement was, how long, how much storage you need. It took me a while to figure out that could we make something that somebody wanted to buy? Could we complete a project without being able to just go buy all these materials and actually and make a client happy and within a certain amount of time? You know, what did the community feel about it? So we finally got to do a store in Hudson, and it was just a pop-up, but it was very fun because we got to learn how much people really love to do this. People are ready for this kind of, yeah, I mean, they're ready. This is, you know, why you guys are here, is it's like, it's time for us to not be an extractive entities anymore, and to be giving back and be able to transform, like, stuff that we have just all around us every day, that you can make beautiful things from. So thank you for having me.